Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Kemal AA and this is another Chelsea news video of mine where I discuss and talk about all the latest Chelsea news and essentially linking all the rumours and talks and some massive news in regards to Chelsea. And Martin Ødegaard, Chelsea interested in Arsenal's talisman. Some big news stories there. Chelsea interested in signing Martin Ødegaard. Some more Haaland and Timo Werner rumours and links. I'll be clarifying a few things, delving into some reports and news reports, etc. And finally, I'll also be talking about Jorginho and some new news in regards to him. Some interesting statistics. He is apparently the best player in the Premier League according to a certain algorithm. I'll be discussing and delving into that, which is massive news. But before I do get into it, make sure you smash like, pass, subscribe, hit the bell notification. And it is in regards to Martin Ødegaard. Martin Ødegaard, that's how you pronounce it. The Norwegian international on loan from Real Madrid at Arsenal. We know his performances. He's been, superb recently for Arsenal. He's been carrying their team, the creativity, driving force in their team. And according to the Mail Online Sport and the Daily Star, Arsenal are concerned about the prospect of a bidding war with Chelsea and Liverpool for Martin Ødegaard, who are interested in making a move for the £50 million rated midfielder this summer. Now, for me, this is really surprising news. This is really surprising. This is something that I least expected because at the end of the day, he's a creative number 10, and we have a lot of that. We've got Hakim Ziyech, we've got Kai Havertz, we've got Mason Mount. So naturally, theoretically, this move would never make sense. But it got me thinking. Tactically. And before I recorded this video, it got me thinking, if we did sign Ødegaard, how could he potentially fit into our 11? Because, he's already got some Premier League experience now. He's still only 22 years of age. He's been superb. He was young. He was voted Young Player of La Liga last season, the Young Player of the Year at La Liga. Superb, on loan from Real Madrid. And Real Madrid have an abundance of talent, so would he get into their first team? I think on talent-wise he would, but Zidane doesn't rate him because Zidane doesn't use a number 10 in his Real Madrid system. So, of course, Ødegaard will be surplus to requirements, and that's where Arsenal, Chelsea come in, etc. And he's had a successful loan spell at Arsenal. Now, here's my thoughts, opinions on this matter. Do I think it's realistic? Do I think this is even legit? Now, we need to realise it is written and sourced by Daily Star and Mail Online Sports. So they're not the most credible. They're not tier 1 sources. So let's not think this is going to be accurate or anything. I don't think Haaland would ever happen. I sincerely don't, because you can't sign Ødegaard for the rumoured £50 million. Have Mason Mount, Kai Havertz, Hakim Ziyech. These are all creative players, but only one or maximum two of them can play on the pitch at the same time. So, you can't sign Ødegaard £50 million and just stick him straight on the bench. He'd essentially be moving from one bench in Real Madrid's bench to another bench. There's just no point in doing that. He'd want regular first team, guaranteed first team football. And for me, he's capable with the quality he has, the close control, the technical ability, the technique, the footballing IQ, the brain, the creativity that he has. He's superior to Mount in my opinion. However, there is a caveat to that. He is superior in terms of creativity and technical ability. When it comes to hard work, when it comes to breaking lines, half turns, of course, Mason Mount is the better player in that sense. But Mason Mount and Ødegaard are two different players, so it's really hard to compare them. But Ødegaard would bring in a different dimension to our attack, and hence why I would welcome Ødegaard to Chelsea. I know a lot of fans would say, I know a lot of Chelsea fans specifically would say, oh, we don't need Ødegaard, we've got Mason Mount. But the different profile of player, because if we're beginning Martin Ødegaard, this leads me to believe that Kai Havertz will be the first choice next season in terms of false 9, because Kai Havertz has been shining at false 9. So he will essentially be our striker. Kai Havertz at false 9. You then have the two wingers, either a Pulisic, Callum Hudson-Odoi, and then you'd have maybe like two creative number 8s there. Maybe you'd have a Martin Ødegaard and a Mason Mount together. You got Hakim Ziyech for depth. He can play on the right hand side. Ødegaard, Mount can rotate depending on the game, depending on the profile that's required. You'll have a Jorginho, etc. So there's many options you can have. I just think that if we did sign a Haaland, I can't see Chelsea signing both Haaland and Ødegaard, simple for the fact that if Haaland signs, he definitely plays. That means that Kai Havertz has to go at number 10, but then you've got Mason Mount, Hakim Ziyech, and then Ødegaard as well. It's too much. It's too much. We need to wait for more reliable, more credible sources to come out and say, listen, Chelsea, they're seriously interested in signing Martin Ødegaard. So we'll have to wait and see. But he's a player that would thrive at Chelsea. I'm very confident of that. I'm confident in his abilities, his technical IQ. And that's the thing, this season especially under Tuchel, we're not scoring enough goals, and a lot of people will pinpoint that to the fact that Timo Werner's missing chances, that we're not, we haven't got the strikers to put it in. But it's not even that. It's we're not actually creating enough chances, and it's due to a lack of creativity. Now, naturally, that shouldn't be an issue. We've got Kai Havertz, we've got Mason Mount, we've got Hakim Ziyech. Now, Mason Mount isn't the most creative. His job in that team is not to be the creative player. His is to essentially for the press, the counter-pressing. He's very crucial for the counter-pressing. He's there for the balance, the counter-pressing. Essentially works really hard. He will be crucial in that team. He offers balance in that squad, attack and defence. He transitions everything, and he drives the team forward. But that doesn't necessarily mean that he's in there for creativity. The players that are in there for creativity are the likes of your Kai Havertz and especially Hakim Ziyech, who hasn't been performing at the highest level. But Hakim Ziyech is more of a right-hand sided player. Ødegaard is versatile, he can play all across the front three, but Ødegaard is a natural number 10 in that team. And so for me, Ødegaard brings you that creativity, another dimension to that team. And I think Ødegaard would be a perfect player that Chelsea would sign. I think that to solve our creativity problems, Ødegaard is that player. But I don't see it being realistic because we have too much attacking quality. For me, we'd have to sell Giroud, Tammy for starters. We might have to sell Ziyech for this move to happen. And for me, I don't think that's too realistic. But if we did sell Ødegaard, I'll be very happy because he is a quality player. But what do you guys think? Give me your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. Now moving on to some other news stories, and let's try and think about and let's talk about the striking position. Erling Haaland, Timo Werner. Now a couple of days ago, I made a Chelsea news video for you guys, and I said at the time Timo Werner could potentially be involved in a swap deal, and I disregarded those rumours. I said it's not true. He's not even been there for a year. He needs to adapt. He's settling for life in London. He's a priority by the club to find a system for him. It doesn't make any logical, financial or logistical sense to sell Timo Werner or include him in a swap deal this summer. And according to Matt Law, I was right. I said it exactly, and this isn't me trying to brag on anything because I said it at the time, you have to look at things from a logical standpoint, from a logical perspective. And as Matt Law said, Chelsea's plans to try and recruit a new striker this summer does not include selling Timo Werner or offering him as a part of a big money bid for Erling Haaland. As I said in a couple of days ago, you know, we're not going to include Timo Werner any sort of swap deal. He's not going to get sold, so we need to relax on that front. And there's Arkintelli coming out and saying that Timo Werner once again is not interested in leaving Chelsea after only one season, and he will not push for a transfer. He remains confident about turning his fortunes around, which is fantastic news. That's exactly what we want to hear. We want to hear that because Timo Werner has the potential. Don't forget, this guy is 24. You know, he's 24, so he's not even the finished article. He's not in his prime. So we need to give him chances. Listen, does he need to improve? Of course he does. His first touch is poor. His link up, his passing, his hold up play. These are all things that need to improve. But there are a lot of positives, especially his elite mentality, his pace, acceleration. We've seen some good quality finishing. He's got relatively decent amount of tech as well. So for me, it's a case of finding the right system for him and allowing him to thrive in that system. So for me, it's a case of giving him time to really, you know, adjust and adapt to this league. So I think we need to give him a bit more time. And it's good news to hear that he's not actually going to be involved in a swap deal, because I sincerely believe that he should be given another season to really, you know, showcase his value, showcase his talent. And I think Thomas Tuchel is definitely the guy to get the best out of him and Kai Havertz as well. Now moving on to the last point, it's not really any Chelsea news. Well, it's related to Chelsea, but it's not Chelsea news in a sense. Now this is interesting because this will get a lot of you guys like, where has this come from? And a lot of people on social media made so much noise. But basically, this was done by Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime, they did an algorithm on this, and it's done by CIES Football OBS. Now it's basically the official count of a research group, and it basically looks into the algorithm. Excuse me. The algorithm, the statistics, it does all the analytics, the analysis. It looks at various things. So it looks at things like the space, your IQ, your technique on the ball, your passing range, how much of an impact you have on the team. So it looks at a various combination of factors. And it's really key. So it's not something to disregard. This is legitimate. It takes all this data, it looks at all these statistics, it combines them together into an algorithm. And this is what is produced. The top performing Premier League players of 2021, according to this algorithm, Jorginho is the best player in the Premier League. I mean, listen, I rate this guy so highly. I've always said for time, Jorginho is world class. He needs more respect put on his name. But this for me confirms that, like, I know ball. I don't want to brag, but I know ball, bro. I know ball, guys. But Jorginho has been ranked and as the top performing. He's been the best player in the Premier League this season. The second is Ruben Diaz. Third is Wilfred Ndidi. Fourth is Luke Shaw. Fifth is Harry Kane. Sixth is Thiago Alcantara. Seventh is Granit Xhaka. Eighth is Pascal Gross. 9 is Ruben Neves. And 10 is Rafinha. Now, some of you guys will say, well, you know, these players play in different positions. And I completely understand your point. It's completely valid. But the algorithm disregards that. It doesn't matter what position you play in. It's all about those factors I mentioned earlier. Your positional awareness, your technique, your IQ, how you utilize space, your positional awareness, you're moving off the ball. Like, it takes all these things into account, how much of an impact you have on your team. And as I said before, Jorginho's impact is fantastic. And I think that And by the way, Jorginho is the third best player according to this algorithm. Number 1 is Lionel Messi, number 2 is Robert Lewandowski, and Jorginho was ranked 3rd in the world for this. So it really proves that he's underrated. He really is underrated, and more respect needs to be put on this guy's name, because this guy is world class. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear no Declan Rice talk. I don't want to hear none of it. This guy is levels above Declan Rice, and this guy is world class. Sorry, I'm gonna say that right now. But that's me wrapping up the news video. If you did enjoy it, don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and I'll see all of you guys for my next video. Peace.